Talk overview of the whole class right now, and then open up for any questions with everybody. So right now, I'm really excited about this class. It's one we've been working on really for several years. That's the way it is now. I mean, they're 2-3 years, sometimes in the case 4 years out as far as when recruiting guys. But as of right now, we're 22 signees in. The cool thing about 15 of those guys are from the state of Georgia. I think 6 out of the 15 of those guys are still in the playoffs playing. So that's important to us to be able to have guys that, the pedigree comes from a championship high school too, in a quality high school program. And to have that many of them still playing this deep in the playoffs here in the state of Georgia, which is such high quality of high school football, is exciting and really bodes well for their future as far as expectations of what it takes to win. So, we have possibility of more coming in here over the next, it could be for the next couple of days, I would imagine. So, but really my belief has been in building a roster is to build it through the high school ranks, being able to supplement through, the transfer portal and free agency to really build a foundation for the long-term success of the program. And at the same time, you might sign some really good high school guys, and they're not quite ready to play. So you want to supplement it, but also you want to have, have it dispersed evenly with the amount of seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. So that's part of it as well. So but belief in recruiting the high school ranks, really starting here in Atlanta, working in the entire state of Georgia. We really recruit the state as two different states. One of Atlanta and the other one, the rest of the state of Georgia, to be able to cover that ground. So, and then really working, inside out, neighboring states, and then going nationally for certain positions and certain guys that fit the profile of what we're looking to have here. Also, I think the best rosters are built really from the inside out. The developmental positions is the old saying of how many the closer to the ball you play, the longer it takes for you to be able to get on the field and play, because it becomes a position of strength and maturity and development. So to have I think 5 O linemen, 5 D linemen in this class, it was important to continue to build ourselves in the trenches to be able to play with anybody that's on our schedule. So with that, I'll keep it short and open up for questions for you guys.
Talking about all the players you've been bringing in from the state of Georgia, moving forward, does that make it easier to recruit the state of Georgia when these kids see how you're building the program?
Yeah, I think the exposure we've been able to receive this year in a lot of ways is big, but it really goes back to relationships with the high schools. Right? Just because you sign a guy from a high school doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be reflective years down the road. I think the coaching staff and then the staff have done an outstanding job of cultivating and building those relationships. I think it's something that really needed to be done here. We're in one of, not the greatest state of high school talent in the entire country, and to jump over 20 guys to go get one makes no sense. So we've been working really hard to make sure we get in the schools, to get in all the high schools, build relationships. I got to give huge credit to Tim McFarland and the job that he's done as far, in Director of High School Relations, and in building these relationships, maintaining these relationships, being able to keep us informed, keep myself informed of different things and that take place, and then the events, the clinics, the camps that are run in the summer, all those go into it.
Could you mention in a minute before about building up a class, being talent-oriented or talent acquisition-oriented through recruiting and then supplementing through the portal? How important is it then for these recruiting classes to have so much balance across the board at all positions, now more than ever, with the impact of the portal?
Yeah, when the roster goes to 105 and you have ideal numbers for each position that you have to hit. You might be over one or under one in a certain year, but for the most part, you want to be at those ideal numbers. At the same time, you don't want to have to totally re-recruit a position each year. You want to have it spread out so that you still can develop guys. If you get into the world of bringing in, 20, 25 one-year guys, well, then you're just replacing them again the next year. Right? So you're not really building any continuity, and you're not building the culture of the locker room that needs to be built for the long term. And look, there's a lot of examples out there of the good and the bad, both collegiate and high school, collegiate, and in the pros, and some of the NFL teams that we've modeled ourselves after, and that I like to model ourselves after. You're seeing those, maybe year 1, year 2, not as much success, but then you look into year 3 and 4, and they really have the right game plan for long-term success and building a foundation for long-term success.
Tell us about Shane Marshall and how that came together there.
No. Norv does a great job recruiting. He's, whether it's position recruiting, whether it's his area recruiting. We're in a world now where everybody's so position-driven in recruiting, and we have to constantly stay on, everyone to consistently remind them that the area recruiting in your own state is extremely important, because people get narrow-minded and narrow-sighted when it comes to the recruiting part, right? But you're not going to build relationships and maintain relationships if you don't stay in the area portion of it. And Norv does a great job in both. He really does. He's persistent, builds great relationships, not just with the player, not just with the parents or the family, but everyone involved. And over the course of time, those things pay off.
You brought in a good number of offensive linemen in this class and last. Would it be fair to say that's a position you prioritize high school recruiting more than the transfer portal?
I don't think it's one over, like I said, every position, it's what's best for the program, right? The longer it takes to develop a guy, right, the more you want them, in your program. But at the same time, guys from, transfer portal, free agency is, they've got experience playing at the collegiate level. So we have pretty strict guidelines that we go through when looking at those guys. But I would love to be able to continue to build the lines of scrimmage through the high school ranks, because you're going to get them for a longer time. They're going to be accustomed to the way you do things in year 2, year 3, right? And then hopefully by year 2 and 3, and then 4, those are the guys that are leading and showing the way to the new guys coming in.
Alex, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You talked about building from the inside out. Just talk about the recruiting job Coach Wade did, and then on the other side, the 2 new first-year coaches, Coach Simpson and Coach Pope. Just talk about the recruiting job they did with their position. Gotcha.
No. So all 3 of those guys, you don't have to talk about what they've done. You can look and see what they've done, not just in recruiting, but on the field. Right? And when you look at the success, the success and the consistency of success that those guys have had, right, and then we're striving for on both sides of the line of scrimmage, right, that helps a ton in recruiting. Okay, that's the first thing. Right, and they're great guys or they build great relationships, long-term relationships with high school coaches. I mean, Jess is, a legend in the high school ranks here in the state of Georgia. But the persistent part of it, the building real relationships with everyone around. But then I think the key in offensive and defensive line recruiting is showing a path to development, right? Showing how you're going to develop somebody, having proof behind you of guys you've developed that are similar to them. Look, we have 13 or 14 former offensive and defensive linemen on staff here, right? And that's not by chance. That's for a reason that we've built the staff that way as well, because I want to continue to build a big, strong, physical group on both sides of the ball. But I couldn't say enough about those 3. Jeep's been in the game a long time. Jess having his relationships in high school, and then Kyle was the guy that when we were at Alabama, and when he was just a GA at that time, did as good of a job recruiting as anybody on the staff. So, been really pleased with all of them.
Coach, how would you describe the process of getting in a guy like Tay Harris?
The process. Stick to the process. Believe in the process. Just because someone commits somewhere, right? It's easy for somebody to say, oh, well, let him go, right? We ain't having that here, right? That's not the type of staff that we have. It's not the type of program that I want to have. If you believe in something as strongly as we believe in in Georgia Tech and the future of the Georgia Tech football program, you're going to continue to recruit the right players for your school, right, for your program. Right? He's a guy that's local, that we were recruiting extremely hard. Decided to, along the way, which a lot of them do. It comes and goes, and but those relationships are big. Being able to keep people home is big, and showing them a path to success and path to development is big. And he's a guy that, and that kid's an unbelievable kid now. I mean, you talk about a kid that is hungry. That, I mean, the day he commits, he's on the phone texting and calling all the other guys in the position room, here on the roster, saying, "Hey, I can't wait to be with you guys." And those guys immediately come back to me and they're like, "Coach, that guy's definitely one of us now." I mean, just the way everything about him. They're like, some of them didn't even like meet him on his visits here, and they just said, "That guy's one of us." So, he's an alpha, and really expecting good things out of him.
No linebackers in this class. Is that just what how things shook out?
Well, again, with roster spots, we've got, I think 4 or 5 returning. It's a position that carries 6 or 7. And the big thing we have to do there is get the guys the separation, right? And then the body types of the type of linebacker we need. We recruited several linebackers, but we weren't able to close them, several of them, okay? So, and then we'll be able to go in the portal and hopefully find the best ones there that fit us and fit our need and fit the scheme that we have.
You're bringing in a couple of defensive backs in Penson and Barr who are athletic, play multiple sports, play on both sides of the ball. Are those guys that you take a look at maybe in the spring and say, hey, where are they going to be the best fit for us?
No, not at all. I mean, this sitting little league tryouts. We recruit guys specifically for positions. We have criteria for each position that we look at. Evaluation criteria, standards of tangible and intangible traits that they have. We recruit guys for specific positions. Now, if it ends up down the road there's a need or a log jam at one spot, we have to move guys around, that's a different story. But when we recruit guys, we recruit them to come in to play certain spots.
Anything else? Chad?
Estimate how many of these guys will enroll early?
It's on your list.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-ish. 11 or more. No, it's a lot of them now, and a lot of the ones that don't, usually they're either at a school that won't allow it, or they're a spring sport guy, a track baseball person that really wants to stay in and continue that. Man, that's changed so much in the last few years of guys coming in early. And then there's a handful of guys that really just want to continue to enjoy the experience of high school, of their spring semester. And we don't pressure guys either way to come in. It's a decision. Now, when they make the decision to do it, yeah, we welcome it. But we're not going to pressure them because I don't want them to be upset and miss out on something. But they'll all get a chance to go to their prom.
Alex, then we'll come
I'm
over
good.
here.
I was going to ask what I heard.
Coach, I noticed there's a lot of players here who have athletic family members. There's a nephew of Vic Beasley, someone related to a former Olympian, a baseball Hall of Famer. Does that catch your eye, or is it coincidence, or do you look for people or players or kids who may have very successful athletes in the family?
In the initial evaluation, you don't know those things because we're watching film. Then we're going in and
All conference defensive tackle.
Thanks so much, sir. Thank you. Thanks so much, Coach.
You good?
Yes, sir, I'm good.
All right. You like you're going hunting.
I'll see you.
See you, man. He makes me smile for a lot of reasons. Because he smiles, the way he plays, all that. So, No, but initially you don't see those things. Now, once you really start digging into the mindset of a player, the DNA, the makeup of them, are they going to fit here? Family genes, family history. It's not always a predictor, but a lot of times it is, because there's things they want to, there's things they want to, traditions or legacies or history that they want to uphold.
Anything else?
That's it. All right, go Jackets.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks, sir.
Thank y'all.